Hello YouTube, this is Harley1042 here, bringing you another episode of M.O.A.B. I decided to go to free-for-all and try this because I am not doing very well. Somebody posted a comment wanting me to use the MP5, so I was like, okay. And I have no attachments, no proficiencies or anything at all. So here I go in free-for-all using MP5. I happened to get in a lobby with a bunch of people that really wasn't that good. So that was very lucky of me. But I'm not going to talk much about the gameplay. You can see for yourself. I'm using motion sensor and you can see my perks. Just pause it. I'm going to tell you a story from what happened to me when I was a sophomore, I think, in high school. It was like during the summer, and it's about dogfighting, or well, I mean, I'm not involved in dogfighting, but it was a dogfight, and it was kind of interesting. But anyways, it was in the summer. It was getting a little dark, and me and my friend Sink were throwing the football, and we were babysitting, I guess you say, my sister's pit bull. His name was Loki. He was probably, I mean, he was a pretty big dog. He was really mean to anybody but me and like my family, like my dad and my brother. He was pretty nice to us, but like Sink went back there to go pet him, and he went at him on his chain. And we had him chained up in the backyard because the people around us, they like to steal dogs for some reason. I don't know why. But we had him chained up, and he had a choke chain on it, which is where the chain, if he tries to go forward, the chain would choke his neck. We had that on it, and then we had this barb chain. It was basically like barbed wire sticking in his neck. I mean, it was rounded off tips, but it was basically barbed wires. It seemed like the cruelest thing in the world, but like we had to keep him on the chain. And so we were throwing the football, and it was kind of getting dark. And I think I'm a terrible thrower. I threw it over his head or some junk. And then he goes down to go get the ball, and he looks up, and Loki's coming running straight at him. And so he's kind of freaking out. But then he veers off and goes after the ball. So now we're freaking out because now this dog that really doesn't like many people but me is running around the yard, and we also have two more dogs. Well, we was able to get one dog inside. The people that was there at my house grabbed their dog. They had one with them and ran it inside. But my other dog that was kind of it was kind of like one of those dogs that just kind of hang around and we feed them. But anyways, he was a German Shepherd. He was pretty big. He was probably at least 200. I ain't sure, like 180 pounds. And Loki was probably like 135. But you can see where the story's going. But so Loki runs around the house a few times. We're chasing him, trying to get him, and then he comes across the German Shepherd, which is his name's Buck, and he comes up to him. And he sniffed each other, and I'm like, this isn't good. So I lunge at Loki and grab he still had his choke collar on. I grabbed his choke collar like underhanded, and I had him, and I lifted up so he wouldn't be in his front legs. But right when I grabbed it and lifted up, he backed up and slipped right out of it and went straight for Buck. And now they're starting to roll around on the ground, fighting and just going crazy. And like, I don't want either one of the dogs to get hurt, so I'm just kind of like, oh god. I mean, they were going at it, and Buck was playing defensive. He didn't want to be in a fight. He was just trying to get away. But it was funny because Loki charged at him. Buck would like basically throw him. He threw him. I remember one time he threw him across the yard, and Loki like rode almost all the way to the road. He threw him. I don't know how he did it, but it was pretty crazy. But they were going at it, and then Sink was like waylaying Loki's ribs with his foot. He was just kicking him as hard as we could because we were trying to get Loki to quit. Buck wasn't doing anything. He was kicking him as hard as he could. And then my dad had a 5-foot PVC pipe and was nailing him. Well, you think a PVC pipe, a plastic pipe. No, this was a metal PVC pipe that we had in our yard. He was hitting him in the head with it, trying to get this dog to quit fighting with the other one. So, but they were still going at it. It didn't matter, and we was not trying to hit somebody else or hit the dog. They were just working on him. And finally, I seen them separate at one point. So I dive in head first. Well, my arms were first. I dive in and I tackle, or I don't tackle, but I just land on top of Loki and I put my weight on his body, on his hind end. And so he kind of just calms down, but Buck actually came in for the attack right when I did that. Oh, here's the part where I get my M.O.A.B. knots. Oh, yeah, one off again. I tried, but anyways, back to the story. You probably want to hear the end of it. But I tackle Loki, and I have my left arm around his neck, and I have my right arm like on his back, trying to put my weight on him to lay him down. And then Buck comes in and attack, and right when he did, he took his mouth and went to his neck where my arm was, and he actually grasped with his mouth my arm. And I was like, oh god. And so he bit my arm. His whole mouth was, my elbow was in his mouth. And then Buck looks at me with his eyes, and it just looked like a little 5-year-old that did something terribly wrong. He did not like it. He was very sad. But he immediately released, and then they just kind of sat there panting. And then we was able to get Loki back on the chain. And I don't know where Buck went. He went off running around. I think we seen him like 2 months later. He came into our house. It was storming outside, and he just busted down our door and comes running in because he was terrified of thunderstorms. But that later that night, we went to go check on my arm, and I ended up having to go to the hospital because everybody was freaking out. But I had a big mark, or not a big mark. It was like probably like a barely anything on the top of my arm, and underneath it there was like meat hanging out. They said I couldn't see it. So we went to the hospital, and they were like, "What are you doing? Are you stupid?" I'm like, no, I just didn't want the dogs to get hurt or injured. And then they're like, oh, you gotta file a police report because of a dog bite and blah 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 this. But anyways, they give me a tetanus shot. They didn't. You don't get stitches, just so everybody knows, when you get dog bite or bit. My bad, I don't like English, because the infection or the germs will stay inside of the bite if they stitch me up. So. But a dog bite's better than a cat bite, because the cat bite instantly heals after they bite you. So it was kind of educational there. I don't know if anybody really cares. I'm just probably rambling so I can finish the rest of this. But so that was a great night. It was very interesting. I kind of got a little bit of crap about it, like, what are you doing? And my sister didn't like it. She was kind of all worried. Yeah, you can tell right here, this people aren't bad. I throw my throwing knife to kill him, and I miss. And he just kind of runs around me until he knifes me. But I was trying to get a throwing knife kill for the challenge. So that's what I was working on. And I finally get it. So there's another M.O.A.B. for ya. Psych. Just for all those people that are cheating and looking ahead. Like, it doesn't really matter. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day.